Greetings, cultivators worldwide. Jordan River back with more Growcast, the bacteria to your rhizosphere. Today, Queen of the Sun-Grown is back on the line. She's a longtime friend of the show. Go back and check out her old episodes. Of course, if you haven't heard her yet, I know you're going to love today's. But before we get into all that, shout out to Rain Science Grow Bags, the best container for growing cannabis out there, everybody. RainscienceGrowbags.com. Code GROWCAST saves you 10% on the best containers for growing. The reason you like these mesh grow bags, well, they last a lifetime. You can clean them out, unlike a lot of fabric pots. You just can't get them clean. Well, Rain Science Grow Bags clean out just fine. Plus, you get the breathability and the air pruning and all that good stuff. They've got grommet attachments for low-stress training. They've got low-rider bags if you like a wider bag. They've got what you need. I think they even have beds. All at RainscienceGrowbags.com. Code GROWCAST every time, and be sure to send us a snapshot of your codes, everybody. Always do that with any GROWCAST code to be entered to win free seeds. Let's see, as you're hearing this, I guess we just wrapped up the Oklahoma meetup. This is before when I'm recording it. I'll see you in SoCal in February, everybody. Oceanside meetup. Stay tuned for that. But for now, enjoy this episode of Queen of the Sun. Thank you for listening. And like I said, enjoy this program. Hello, podcast listeners. You are now listening to Growcast. I'm your host, Jordan River, and I want to thank you again for tuning in today. Before we get started, as always, I urge you subscribe to this podcast. Hit subscribe wherever you're listening. Hit up growcastpodcast.com/action to see all the action that we have going down, including joining our green list, our mailing list for free, for prizes, our membership, and so much more. Today, we are back on the line with a old friend of the show. A beautiful young woman who is an old friend of the show. Queen of the Sun is back on the line. How's it going, Alex? Great to have you back.
Oh, man, I'm doing so good. It's great to talk to you, man. It's been a while.
It has been a minute. Thank you for coming back. As always, we are here for Grow Gear January. That's right. Focusing on all things that make the grow go. Queen of the Sun, of course, the prolific, I would say, regenerative soil specialist, a closed loop system farming specialist, an outdoor cannabis cultivation specialist. So much wrapped into one you are, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you. A jack of all trades, hopefully a master of one or two.
Find everything she's doing at the Queen of the Sun-Grown Patreon, everybody. Go and check it out. Some really good resources there. Yeah, let's talk today about grow gear, though, Alex. I know, it's funny, as a hobbyist indoor grower, it really just depends on what your lifestyle is like outside of the grow. And that's going to determine a lot of the stuff you end up purchasing and using, right? Like, a lot of people say this is overpriced, that's overpriced. If you have a daytime job and you're killing it, day trading or whatever, you're just going to buy whatever you need for your grow. When you get to a point where it's your living, when you get to a point when you try to scale it up, take it outdoors, things like this, cost really matters. And it's really the driving factor in almost every decision along the line, right?
Definitely. And I would say, even if you're killing it in your day job, you really should look at the cost of what your inputs are and try to save money, because money is a tool and you can use your money to make yourself more money. So why spend it on marketing?
That's true.
Marketed products. You know what I mean?
Yeah. By which you mean, the green tax, as you've put it off air. You've come on the show before and said you can get this exact same product marketed towards traditional agriculture at a cheaper cost. That's something you've said before.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The green tax is real. I mean, as soon as you bring in cannabis, you're going to see price go up probably 2 times, maybe even up to like 3 or 4 times, depending on what it is. It's just because for so long, people who grow weed have been making pretty good money. And so they think, well, everyone wants a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
So there are ways around the green tax, though. And there are so many different ways to reduce your costs and save money on your garden and use that money for something else, man. Just because you can spend it doesn't mean you should. I'm all about waste not, want not.
I mean, 100%. No one wants to pay just for, labeling or branding. I guess when I give that example, maybe leaning more towards things like lights, where there's such a wide variety of price ranges. And someone either says, oh, that light's overpriced, you can get this cheapo Amazon. Or the other person says, why do you get that cheapo Amazon? I only get the best.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I
different
see that
when
for sure.
it's different when you're talking about something like you've brought up before, like trichoderma, a very specific and available microbe that you can get at a much lower cost than some of these people who take these microbes and raise the price because they're cannabis specific.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I think first thing you want to do when you're looking at buying grow gear, which I'm going to focus specifically on nutrients and microbes, would be read your ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
I have had clients, commercial clients who have huge farms in California. And the first thing I do is like say, okay, what are you feeding? Let's get a list of all of your nutrients and amendments. And then I look at the ingredient list and I write it all down. And you wouldn't believe how many nutrients have the same exact thing. You think you're buying something different. Sure, it has a few different things in it, but you're going to see your base of, especially in organics, specifically kelp, humic acids, guano, fish hydrolysate, worm castings, maybe alfalfa meal or neem meal in there, shrimp, crab. You know what I mean? You see kind of the same thing going into these organic nutrients. And so you really kind of, the first way to eliminate redundancy is with the first way you're going to reduce your costs.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. Again, knowing why you're using this input and for what purpose. Is it a nutrient? Is it a fungus? Is it a bacteria? And can you get it cheaper? Silicic acid is really hot right now. God, I'm broadcasting now, so I can't. I'm going to make a reference to something that I really wish I could just pull up magically. I believe it was CHA Education. I've been shouting this guy out quite a bit. Just a really great Instagram page. He's a cannabis horticultural education guy. He kicks butt. And he was posting a silicic acid product that he said he's been using for a while now, and it's marketed towards big ag, and it's so much cheaper than some of these silicic acids that we're using. Again, just because of a label.
Oh, hell yeah. I saw that post.
Yeah, what was the brand name? You saw that post?
Yep, I did. I don't know. I shared it on my story, so I can go back through and I'll get it to you. I'll look into it again. But
buy me some time. I'll check it out now. But
yeah, I mean, a huge aloe powder is what, I typically use for silicic acid. It's really high in it and it has a lot of other things. And then, like I said, that's going to be a huge thing that you're going to save money on. I've always said powders versus liquids. There you go. Because what is the liquid part of the nutrient? It's water. So when you're getting things shipped to you, you got to consider trying to go as lightweight as possible. And do you really want to pay for water or do you want to pay for nutrients? So that's another great way to save money on your grow gear. Like you said, knowing exactly what you're using. You want your NPK and then your micronutrients, which there's 14 of those that the plant needs. And the funny thing is that they're all the same nutrients that we as humans need.
Right.
So if you're eating healthy and know what needs to take care of your body, you know what needs to take care of your plant.
Yeah, we've made this point before. Biosilicate, by the way, Beneficial Living Center's Biosilicate. That is the product. So shout out to CHA. You just said something though that's going to kind of send me down a path, because you talk about holistic gardening. You talk about integrating gardening into your life. I really love that type of conversation. That's right up my alley. And I think it's funny how people will give so much thought to the nutrition of their cannabis plants, and then they will spend not even 1% of that effort into studying their own health and nutrition.
Oh, yeah.
And you might just become a better gardener if you would take some of those nutrient deficiencies in yourself and correct those. I know that from experience. This isn't coming from a place of lording over. I love fried foods and fast foods, and I'll eat myself into a state of unhealthiness until I need to stop. So this isn't me being snobby, but it's me saying, how much thought do we give to our plants' deficiencies and how much do we give to our own? An interesting thought, right, Alex?
It is. It is. I mean, you are what you eat. And that's literally, our world is made up of what I like to say, a molecular jigsaw puzzle. We're constantly changing and exchanging nutrients, molecules with our plants, with our food. Everything that we touch can be absorbed into our skin. I mean, that is a huge reason why you should be growing organic, in my opinion, unless you're, you have another reason you don't care. You're eating fast food anyway. I mean, go ahead. But
if you're not concerned with that sort of thing. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, growing organic, another great option. What were we talking about here? That's right. Saving money. Saving money. Here we go.
Saving money. So you're looking at your ingredient list. You're making sure that you're not buying redundant items. You are covering all your bases, your NPK, your micronutrients, things like silica, calcium, manganese, magnesium, boron, zinc, copper, iron, yada, yada, yada. And then if you're into microbes, which I'm sure everyone should be into microbes, they're the way the world goes round. They're important parts of every single aspect of life, down to our gut health, our emotional health, our plants' nutrient uptake, defenses, pathogens, everything revolves around microbes. And so when you're shopping for microbes for your garden, things that you want to look for, again, redundancy, make sure that you're not buying 2 products with the same microbes. And then spore count. This is huge. You look at the CFU on the back of the product and find out what the spore count is. How many of this microorganism, this bacteria, this fungus is in the product. And you'll be surprised that a lot of the fungal spore counts vary widely from 10,000 to 300,000. And the price is really not that different. So you go ahead and just make sure that you're getting most bang for your buck on spore count.
Okay. I like that note, but this makes me want to ask a follow-up question.
Shoot.
The idea being that these microbes should proliferate in a good system, right?
Yeah.
Is that the idea? So even if the CFU is low, is it still okay? So for instance, I can understand if you're again in an indoor scenario and you're in containers, it would probably be harder to get those microbes to establish and proliferate, and therefore you'd probably want to make sure you have a higher CFU count. Does it matter so much in like a dialed in living soil bed or outdoor no-till? Shouldn't the CFU count not matter much in theory because they will proliferate, or am I wrong about that?
Okay, so in theory, besides money, when you're looking at it from a cost-saving perspective, sure, when you look at it from that, then it matters because you're spending more money on less
spores.
Who wants to do that?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then you don't have a guarantee of what percentage of those spore counts are active or are going to reactivate.
So you're lowering your percentage. You're rolling a dice with every propagule or whatever that it may be inactive. Therefore, it could really hurt the efficacy overall.
Hey, you don't really know what did that little spore, that tiny little microbe go through to get to you, and is it viable? Do we even know? We're buying these things. Are we looking under a microscope and after it's activated and seeing how much of it is actually coming to life and doing its job? Really, the more you have, the higher percentage you're going to get that are going to be viable. So that is my point in just getting, the most bang for your buck on spore count.
I didn't think about it like that. That is quite interesting. I just received some beneficial insects, and I'm pretty sure that they were not as alive as they could have been because of the transport. So if the concentration is higher, the odds are in your favor for efficacy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Statistically.
Okay.
Anyway.
I like that. You got me.
So then for your beneficial insects, you could be just planting seeds outside that attract the beneficial insects that you wanted in the first place, but you already know how I feel about that.
You already know. The way you say stuff sometimes is just so funny.
Right now, we're focused on nutrients, and saving money. And the next thing I would suggest for grow gear is buying bulk, buying as much as you can. And so that means if you can get together with a buddy and split something, like, hey, I'm going to buy 50 pounds of this water soluble kelp. You want to go in half with me? You'll probably save like 4 to 5 times as much as if you bought that little one. So if you have the money to buy a year's worth supply, I would recommend, and the storage, because obviously these bags are kind of big, but if you got a tough shed or a garden shed or something outside where you can put a few bags of 50-pound bulk amendments, you're going to save tons of money buying bulk.
Oh, I like that.
Definitely ways to go around, like little loopholes too that you can figure out. I mean, basically in the United States, our tax system is built for corporations, and any family can file as a corporation in any state for any hobby. Now, you definitely don't want to put cannabis cultivation as your hobby, but you could say that you wanted to start a sole proprietorship as a gardening was your hobby. And you have to have 5 years before you even have to turn a profit. And once you start sole proprietorship or an LLC, anything that you buy for your garden is a tax write-off. And you can go through loopholes of using your passion, your hobbies as a way to save in taxes at the end of the year. So that is another spin on saving money for your grow. I mean, It's your medicine, or it's your, whatever it is, it's your hobby. Literally home brewers do this. Anyone can do this for anything, freaking scrapbookers. So
that's wild.
Go ahead and take advantage of it.
Fucking Alexandria Irons Esquire. This is a hot take.
Yeah. I mean, you could get a seller's permit. Once you make a sole proprietor or an LLC, not only are you going to save, you save on your freaking cell phone bill. I pay $35 a month for unlimited data, unlimited everything, because I have a business plan. Whereas if it was personal, it'd be like $105. And you don't have to claim that on taxes or anything. You just get this automatically, you just get the savings. So you can do that with nutrients too. If you have a seller's permit, let's say, which is like usually a flat rate fee for the whole year, you could say, hey, guys, I got all my gromies, talk to everyone in the Discord grow chat, find your regional chapter, man, on Growcast and get together.
Damn right. You know it.
Yeah, you could create a little grow cooperative and be like, hey, I'm going to get my seller's permit. Do you guys, let's put in an order. I'll order it for everyone. And when you have a seller's permit, you can buy direct from the company and you get it at cost, which is usually 45% to 50% off what you would buy from a grow shop.
Damn. Wow. These are some serious financial hacks. This is not what I expected. You got the tax savings, you got the bulk buying, now you're paying vendor prices, you're paying retail prices.
Yeah.
This is nuts.
Yeah, man, there's ways to do it. If this is your passion, you spend, $10,000 a year or whatever it is, you spend even $5,000 a year, like growing your own medicine, growing for your family and friends. There are ways that you can save a lot of money and loopholes. And it's like I said, the loopholes are there for the businesses. If freaking Amazon can take advantage of it, so can you. All it takes is a little bit of research and a little effort.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's an important thought overall too, is just voting with your dollar in general. We did a recent episode with Wolfman on the Scott's gardening takeover.
Oh yeah.
That's happening, and Monsanto entering cannabis. We're actually going to do a follow-up on that because I feel like I may have conflated a few things in that episode, being Stony. Monsanto and Scott's being in bed together, but as Upstate Hydroponics pointed out, does not own Scott's, distributes Scott's, lots of executives crossing over. It's Scott's that owns Hawthorne, and that's what we were really exploring last episode, Queen of the Sun, was Hawthorne Gardening Company, and how they're buying up so many companies. Even since recording that episode, I had to edit the description to say, hey, they just bought Lux. Since we recorded this episode, they paid $210 million for Lux lighting.
Right. And the turkey bags.
Yes. Yeah. It was a $220. That's right. $220 million deal. $10 million being for fucking turkey bags.
Yeah.
What is happening?
They're getting it. They know.
100%. They know.
And you know what that tells me? Federal legalization is coming, y'all. Be prepared. Get ready. It is coming. Like when you have companies like this getting ready to take over an industry, Monsanto, Scott's, Hawthorne Group, they're in bed with the federal government. They know what's happening. They have lobbyists. That's what lobbyists do, push the agenda of what they want and get information. So it's coming. Be prepared. I mean, there's pros and cons. You know how I feel about it, but it's crazy, this conglomerate, this mergers and acquisitions. I mean, corporate cannabis is coming, and as long as you can grow it yourself, you should, fuck Monsanto. Don't buy Monsanto weed.
Yeah, it is pretty nuts. And you're right. They don't make these moves until they're sure. And there's another great infographic that was posted by, I believe it was Mary Jack's Garden. Shout out to member Mary Jack's Garden. He posted sure, you could find it by Googling Monsanto and lawmakers. Basically, it was Monsanto executives that went on to be installed in different positions within our government, director of agriculture and fucking, all these positions. Again, coming straight from Monsanto into government positions. So
oh, yeah,
you're right. They do have their little connections. They know what's going on, and they wouldn't have invested if they didn't know that by the time they're ready, they'll be able to do their banking like they need. They'll be able to do all of that and really get a stranglehold on grow gear, which is, it's not something that's good for the patient. So all we can do is vote with our dollar and try to protect home grow rights and get as many people home growing as we can. I think that's the best way we can fight back because you're not going to beat them in court. You're not going to outspend them. You're not going to do any of those things. That's for sure.
Nope. You just got to vote with your dollar, like you said, and grow your own fire and let, them grow their mids, and friends don't let friends smoke mids.
You're dead on with that. Your outdoor looks more like indoor. So, I don't know how they're going to be able to keep up with that if they can't even keep their indoor above fucking A grade.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with the great Queen of the Sun, but before that, the Foop, everybody. Foopcanna.com is where you can find them. Code GROWCAST15, I believe, is still active. Use code GROWCAST420 if not. Save on Foop. Organic nutrients. Now, you've heard about their nutrient line. You've heard about their Foop Mist and their clone gel. But what I've been really stoked on lately is this sweetener. They want to do a sweetener giveaway with us, so you guys can stay tuned for that. It's going to be a good one, everybody, because the Foop sweetener is one of the best in the game. You have to deliver these sugars to your plants, especially late. If you notice these nutrient lines, they all got a sugar product there, especially towards the end, and it's very, very important. Whether you're growing with traditional nutrients or in a living soil or a Foop style, whatever you're doing, you need that sweetener, and Foop sweetener is one of the best on the market, specifically formulated for cannabis, affordable. They're selling it standalone, I believe now. If it's not available standalone now, it will be shortly. And again, check it out. Foop Sweetener, another great thing that you can add to your regimen without changing much like the Foop Mist, their foliar product, or the Foop Clone Gel, which is the best clone gel that I've found to work in my garden. Foopcanna.com, proud partners, certified organic. It ain't easy to get that, and they done it over at Foop. Code GROWCAST15, code GROWCAST420. Look for them in your local hydro store. We love the Foop, everybody. And stay tuned for giveaways. All right, let's get back to Alexandria, Queen of the Sun. Let's talk more about saving money. Let's talk about making your own inputs, avoiding the grow store altogether. Wherever you want to go with this.
Yeah, hell yeah. So obviously making your own inputs that's how I like to do things, because I love cooking, and making a recipe up is like, I'm cooking for myself. I'm cooking for my plants. I'm creating this nutrient, it's kind of art, it's kind of science, a little bit of both. And it really is just something that I enjoy. And I think that many people probably would if they just tried it. And if you really understand what your plant needs, you can save a lot of money by making your own inputs. A couple months ago, I posted on Patreon a recipe for a bloom booster. I did a cost breakdown of what it cost me to make, I think it's Roots Organics bloom booster. I did all of the ingredients that are in there, and I made it myself. And it was like, I want to say $4 a serving for my way. And this is a 200-gallon tank. So take that into, context. But
right.
For Roots name brand version, it was like $24 a serving.
Sure.
So I saved 6 times, if you're doing that once a week for 2 months, your 8 weeks, that's what is that, like 80, $200. So, that's hey, you could go out to dinner and take your lady out or your husband out on fancy night dinner for $200. Save that.
DIY, truly DIY. I think again, it probably makes more sense the bigger your scale is. You know,
Oh yeah.
these home grows can get away with a little sample bottle from the hydro store. I have a 5-plant grow right now. That's pathetic. It's again, not to say that you should just spend frivolously or waste money, but it really starts to sting the bigger you get.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And I mean, so if you have, just a small grow and you're still trying to save money, but you don't want to buy 50-pound bags of dry amendments, maybe you don't create all your own amendments, or maybe they even offer them in smaller portions. So maybe you buy like a dry box. I know Down to Earth does a lot of just those small boxes, and they're decently priced. You could go and buy your bulk things, your guano, your kelp, your humic acid, your alfalfa meal, whatever you want, whatever your recipe is. And you're still going to save money buying it in a powder form, water soluble, mixing it yourself. And I really want to talk about humic acids.
Let's go there.
My brain went there. And
yeah, you said it. So let's do it.
In pretty much every nutrient line, organic line, you're going to see humic acids. And humates is the collective term for them. And so humic acid, fulvic acid, they're all the same thing. They're just different degrees. They're different sizes of molecule. Mm-hmm. And, humates come from the term, humus. So where is humus? Humus is the accumulation of dead, decaying organic matter on the Earth's crust. So we get a lot of our humus from like Alaskan forests. And that is because the salmon run is the world's largest nitrogen cycle. So we see the salmon going up to Alaska. They make their journey around the ocean for 4 years, go back to Alaska, swim up river, and they get eaten they go there to die. They get eaten by bears, pooped out in the forest, ripped apart in the forest. And that is the world's largest amount of nitrogen cycling right there. And so we go and we collect this forest floor material that's really high in nitrogen and everything really, and sell it in bags as, Alaskan forest humus. And so when you're composting, you are doing this in a sped up version of the natural cycle that's happening every day. So composting obviously is a way to save costs. Not only are you going to make your own nutrient, you are not going to be putting waste into a landfill, which is going to turn into methane, which is a greenhouse gas that's 40 times stronger than carbon dioxide. Mm-hmm. And you're going to cut back on your trash bill. There's just so many amazing benefits to compost. You're also creating your own source of microorganisms. You don't have to buy microbes anymore. They're there. You don't need a little goes a really long way. Right. You can make compost teas and grow out those microbes. In fact, I'm posting a compost tea recipe this week, tomorrow on Patreon. Last week, I posted a PDF on Composting 101, every different type of way you can start a compost system, pretty much. And that I always push composting as the best way that you can help your garden.
I love that. Not only are you able to, like you said, make teas, take care of your own waste and things like that, the humic acid angle, we often forget, right? That extracting humic acid from compost is just as easy as running water through it, right? Straining water through it.
Oh, yeah.
It's right there. It's available.
Yeah. You don't have to bubble it. You don't have to. A compost tea is just to grow out the microbes. If you wanted to do a compost extract, you just freaking shake the bag of compost in your water, and there you go. You've got humic acids and fulvic acids for free right there. And the amazing thing, why are humic acids so great? Because they are these chains of molecules that increase your cation exchange capacity.
Right.
Okay. So if you think about anions and cations, which are negative and positively charged molecules. So you think like nitrogen, has a charge. So that means that there's one more proton than there's an electron. And so when you have a long chain of humic acid, you've got all these little spots open that are like, think of it as like a cup that needs to be filled up. And it's just ready, sitting there like a little magnetic cup, like, hey man, I'm looking for a positive because I've got this little thing called a valence electron, just spin it out of control on the edge, just waiting to grab onto something positive.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it binds, everything attaches to this chain. All of the cups get filled up, but then the microbes and the plants can take what they want from it.
Okay.
So if you've got chlorine, whatever, that's something that we often try to get out of our waters before, bind up the chlorine. Well, if you bind up the things that you don't want in there, then it takes work to also unbind it. So yes, you're using these humic acids to just hold on to everything. And then the plants and the microbes have their opportunity to go feast and drink from the cup if they want it.
Oh, wow.
Otherwise, it's just an easier way to look at it.
So it's not the acids differentiating it. It's the acids segregating them, holding them, containing them, and then the microbes being able to distinguish what they were intended to.
Oh yeah.
What they were intended to grab or uptake or feast from. Okay, wow. That's I never understood that better than right now. I'm glad you were able to explain it like that.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, everything's chemistry, right? We're all just little tiny atoms doing our thing and switching, trading off, and it's really cool.
Yeah, that is really awesome. We've been diving deep into this humic acid subject. Like I said, previous guests talking about it. The sourcing becoming a big point of contention. The inundate versus seabed and lake bed. You're saying just compost, just make your own compost, make your own humic acids.
Yeah.
It's a reasonable sentiment.
And, maybe you have a compost that is like, I don't know. It's hard because people argue sometimes like the quality of compost, like, oh, I don't want to give my plants that because it's freaking, all my food waste or whatever, scraps and stuff like that. And if you're worried about the quality of your food, well, there you go. Hint, hint, maybe you should be eating better. But also worms are a great option to alleviate any stress or worry you have, because you can do a vermicompost where you're just feeding your worms and then you're using the worm castings as your compost, which is going to be full of NPK, humic acids, fungus, bacteria, everything that compost has. Worm castings have as well. It's just like another step in the process, and you're kind of protecting yourself a little bit more on possibly, I don't know what people are worried about necessarily, or, specifically when they're talking about not wanting to use their food waste, but that is something that I have heard.
Sure. Get the worms to process it. So I guess that's a good point. Maybe we can go through, like you said, there's the traditional composting, the vermicompost, get a worm bin, really great idea. What about the Bokashi compost? I hear you can even kind of, put things like meat in there that you wouldn't necessarily do otherwise. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I mean, you can put your meat and dairy and oils, whatever you want, into a traditional compost. And as long as it's a thermophilic compost and it's reaching that 150 to 175 degrees. And really the biggest reason that people don't do that in a traditional thermophilic compost is because it attracts pests, whereas the Bokashi is usually, it's kept in a container.
Oh, wow. Okay. I thought it was like a big no-no for traditional composting.
No, I do it. I throw everything in there and it's great. I just have, you got to be careful because you just get like raccoons and rats. And
I see.
It depends on where you live. But the more meat, bones, fat, things that smell is just going to attract your pests. So that's why they say don't do that. I mean, there's a whole group of people who do like humanure compost.
Oh, yeah, baby. Sustainablevillage.com. The humanure. It's human shit, folks. It's human feces. You know, Dr. Joe Mercola was talking about why he pees in his home garden a long, long time ago. And then I see this humanure thing coming. I don't know if I'm buying it.
Yeah, I don't know either, man. I really don't want to be turning that pile of compost.
Turn into the poop smith. Okay. Listen, saving money on grows. Has this been the most tangential episode you've ever? I keep steering it. Like you're so good at keeping it on track, but I'm even more talented. As talented as you are at keeping it on track, I'm even more talented with bringing it off the rails. So yeah. Okay, composting. That's a huge part. Anything else here before we wrap it up to save money in the garden?
Yeah, no, we went over reading your ingredients, making sure you're eliminating redundancy, checking your spore count, buying in bulk when you can, tax loopholes, looking into forming a cooperative with your, your friends. That's another
cult
way.
Fam. Yes.
Exactly. Maybe there should be a GrowCast cooperative and you guys can put in orders together. That'd be cool.
I see multiple.
And yeah, composting and following my Patreon, subscribing to my Patreon, because I'm going to give you hella tips on saving money.
You got it, folks. Listen, I know you're supporting membership, so go and support Queen of the Sun. I would love if you make it over there, make sure that you say that you're from GrowCast. I would appreciate that, please, because Queen of the Sun is truly one of the closest friends of the show that we have. And I think you're one of the more unique and, I don't know, just
crazy,
succinct and crazy educators out there doing cannabis media like this. So we'll just say thank you and go show her some love, everybody. Queen of the Sun Grown on Patreon. Go join, get all the recipes. You can DM her, get at her yourself without the Instagram, stopping you from seeing posts or bullshit like that. And yeah, we appreciate you, Alex. You rule.
Awesome. I appreciate you, Jordan. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Okay. Any updates? Anything you want to share with the audience before we wrap it up? It's all right if you got nothing, but I figured I'd give you a chance to.
Oh, no. If you're following along on my Instagram and you guys know what I'm going through, you're sure to see that we'll be hopefully in Oklahoma soon, and I'll have more updates when we get there.
Nice. At Queen of the Sun Grown on Instagram. Been seeing the snowboard videos. Pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No hills in Oklahoma, but that's all right.
I know, man.
We'll figure something out. We'll you can, in Oklahoma you can afford the land to do like the badass ranch, like the Cowboy Cerrone badass ranch. Build your own ramps.
Yeah, get a dirt bike, something.
Precisely. Yes, get a couple of ATVs. Yeah, that's your next thing.
Drift old Pepe, the truck.
Old Pepe. Drifted old Pepe. I remember old Pepe. Shout out to old Pepe. Oh, shit. All right, everybody. Listen, that's going to wrap it up. That's all for today, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Check out at GrowCast on Instagram. We got our account back. Everything we're doing, you can find at growcastpodcast.com/action. See all the action. All right, this is Queen of the Sun Grown and Jordan River signing off. Saying be safe out there, everybody, and grow smarter. Bye-bye.
Smell you later.
That's all for today, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in to this awesome episode. Thank you to Alexandria, Queen of the Sun, such a great friend of the show. We appreciate her so much. The whole GrowCast universe loves Queen of the Sun. Before we wrap it up, AC Infinity, baby. One of my favorite partners, ACinfinity.com. Code GrowCast15 saves you 15%. This code was having trouble for a minute there. It's been fixed. If you need something from AC Infinity, the best tents in the game, the best fans in the game, fabric pots, snippy scissors, ratchet hangers, all of it, even lights over at ACinfinity.com, code GrowCast15. Now, the Cloud Ray is supposed to be dropping February. At the time of recording this, that's what I heard. You might want to keep checking the site, I don't know, but I heard word on the street is February, the Cloud Ray drops. This is the best oscillator. This is the last oscillator you'll ever need. It clips onto your tent pole. It's fucking awesome. They sent me a developer's model. It's just as great as you think it is, if not greater. Grab one of these as soon as they're out. Use code GrowCast15 and send us a snapshot of that code. for a chance to win free seeds. We do it right here at Growcast. ACinfinity.com, code GROWCAST15. That's all, everybody. It's gonna not wrap up this month. We've got some more stuff for you for Grow Gear January, and then we're moving into Breeder Feature February. Duke Diamond coming on the show to make that transition. Yeah, shout out to Duke Diamond. Stay tuned for that episode. Stay subscribed. I appreciate all you. Hope you're doing incredible things in your garden. This is Jordan River, wishing you an extraordinary day. See you later, everybody. Bye-bye.